section, we're going to look at how to use the eCraftshop Pro software. We'll be looking at how to use images that already exist on your SD cards, images that exist in the software, how to manipulate those images and change them to any shape or size you would like. We're also going to look at how to use the text feature so you can be your own designer and cut images direct from the computer. Find the eCraftshop Pro software icon on your desktop, point and double click. This will load the software for you to use. The software will enable you to design all of your own images, manipulate images that exist already, and actually cut them direct from the computer. What I'd like to do is take you through all of the basic functionality so you can see the options that are available to you. The centre of the screen shows you the cutting grid, which is the size of the piece of paper you will be using on the eCraft machine. At the top of the screen you have a number of buttons available, and if you hang your mouse over the top of these buttons you can see what will happen if you were to click on it. A little tab pops up at the bottom to help you along and give you the instruction. Just underneath here you can choose options which are specific to the image you've got on your cutting mat, and along to the far right there is a library which shows you all of the cutting cartridges that are available. By simply clicking on image cards, there is a full list of all of the image cards that are available for the eCraft machine. You can click on and use any one of these image cards, work with the designs, insert them onto the eCraft cutting grid. However, what you must do is own the cartridge before you can cut that shape. We're going to work with one of the shapes from the Fundamentals cartridge so I can show you how to insert, move and manipulate images in eCraftshop Pro. Simply go to your library. Fundamentals 1 is already selected. Choose which section you want to work with from the shapes, frames, flowers, etc. We're going to work with shapes. Click on the image you would like to insert, and that image will be inserted onto the cutting guide for you. To select a shape, point to the centre and click once, and your handles will appear around the outside of the shape. Looking closely at these handles, you will see that they all have a different function. To move this shape on the cutting grid, you would point to the centre handle and you can see that the tip there, Move, pops up to help you. Click and hold down your mouse button and you can move this shape anywhere on your cutting grid. If you'd like to resize the shape, point to one of the handles which indicates that it will resize, and you can drag the shape in that direction. So again, click and hold down your mouse button and drag the shape to the size that you require on your cutting grid. The handles in the corner will actually rotate the shape for you. Again, point and click with your mouse button, hold down the mouse button and move the shape on the cutting grid in whichever direction you would like to move it. If you do something to your shape and you don't like it, you want to take it back, simply go to the menu bar at the top and use the undo feature and your shape is returned to the step before. The undo feature on the eCraft Pro software will remember the last 10 actions. I'm going to delete this shape now and show you how you can use some of the more advanced functions for manipulating shapes on the cutting grid. So with the image selected, I'm just going to press delete on the keyboard to remove that shape. What I'd like to do now is insert some text. So I'm going back to my Fundamentals 1 cartridge. I'm going to choose the welded words section and I'm going to insert the word joy. The text has been inserted onto the cutting grid. Again, I can click on it and resize it to a size that I'm happy with. What we can now do is create several different cutting options by choosing the style option here on the top right of the screen. At the moment it's selected as normal. If we click on the little arrow and choose shadow, that will make the image ever so slightly wider so that you can cut a perfect shadow at this shape for your welded word. What you can also do is choose blackout, which will take away all of the detail in the centre of the image to create a base panel for your image at the same size as the word you want to cut. Shadow and blackout will do exactly as it says and combine both of those functions onto that word so that you can cut out the base panel. And just so you can see what that will actually look like, I've cut out, using the shadow and blackout function, the word joy, where you can see that you have the perfect matten layer and a coloured panel to display that word for your craft project. We're now going to have a look at how to flip an image. To do this, insert the image that you'd like to flip. Using your mouse, point to the image and click so that you've got the selection handles. Looking at the selection bar at the top of the screen here, you're going to point to these two buttons which will give you the flip option. Firstly, we're going to flip this image horizontally. So we have a swirl currently which is looking like this, pointing off to the left. We would like it to point off to the right. So we're going to flip horizontal and your image will be moved on the screen for you. If I would actually like to turn this round on its head, I can use the flip vertical option and it will turn the swirl around. You can continue doing that until you're happy that the swirl will appear on the page as you would like to cut it. I'm now going to show you how to use TrueType fonts with your eCraftshop Pro software. You can use any TrueType font which exists on your computer currently. Simply point to the centre of the selection bar where it says font, click on the down arrow, and every TrueType font which is currently installed on your computer is available for you to use with the eCraft Pro software and cut out and manipulate. We're going to select this font. We're then going to move over to the left of the screen where the text tool is highlighted. We're going to click on the text tool and then take over into the cutting grid and click once. You'll see that a cursor appears so that you can now key in the text you would like to cut. I've typed the word love because the project I'm working on currently has a romantic theme. We can resize that text if we like, exactly as we've done before, by using the selection arrows at the corner of the images. When I'm happy with the size of the text, what I can also do is increase the spacing between the letters. Looking at the selection bar at the top of the screen here, we have two options, Kern Plus and Kern Minus. Kern will increase the space between the letters or decrease the space between the letters depending on the effect you would like to achieve for the project that you're currently working on. I'm now going to show you how to cut a basic shape using your eCraftshop Pro software. Using your toolbar at the left of the screen, go to the section which gives you basic shapes, click, and you'll see there are a number of basic shapes that you can draw and position on your cutting grid. Choose a shape that you would like to draw, click on it, and it will be inserted onto the cutting grid for you. As before, you can resize this shape and make it any dimension or size you would like. If you would like to move it on the cutting grid, move it to where you would like to start cutting. Once you're happy with your shape, point to the toolbar at the top of the screen. You'll see a button here which says Send to eCraft. Click on that and you will be presented with this option where you can tell the cutter where the paper will be fed from. We're going to feed from the front of the machine. Click on Front Roll and I've already inserted the paper, and the eCraft will now cut the shape that we had on our cutting grid on the computer screen. When it's finished, go to the selection panel and use the downward arrow to feed out your piece of paper. You can then pop out the shape that you inserted onto the cutting grid, and there you go. Now that I've shown you the basic functions of the eCraftshop Pro software, the possibilities for you are endless.